Hello and welcome to The Truth Travels. Today, we journey back more than 5 centuries to witness one of the strangest and most disturbing events in recorded history. A mystery that has fascinated, horrified, and puzzled the world ever since. This is the story of the summer of 1518, when the streets of Strasbourg became the stage for a deadly dance. For days, then weeks, hundreds of people moved without stopping. They didn't dance for joy. They didn't dance for celebration. They danced until they collapsed. Some danced until they died. This bizarre episode has gone down in history as the dancing plague of 1518, and to this day, no one knows for sure what caused it. Before we begin, please remember to like this video, subscribe to The Truth Travels, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future deep dives into history's most mysterious events. And I'd love to hear your theories about what really happened. Drop your ideas in the comments. Strasbourg in the summer of 1518. Strasbourg in 1518 was part of the Holy Roman Empire, a bustling city of merchants, guildsmen, craftsmen, and farmers. Its streets were narrow and often packed with people selling vegetables, fish, bread, cloth, and tools. The city sat along the River Rhine, an important trade route. It was surrounded by fertile farmland, but recent years had brought hardship. Harvests had been poor, winters had been cold and unforgiving. Many families were hungry. The city had also seen outbreaks of disease, and tensions between citizens and local authorities were high. Religion was woven into every part of daily life. The people attended church regularly, feared divine punishment, and believed in saints, curses, and miracles. If you walked through Strasbourg in July 1518, you might hear church bells, the clatter of carts, the sound of merchants calling out their goods. You'd smell bread baking, smoke from wood fires, and sometimes the less pleasant scent of waste tossed into the gutters. It was in this world a mix of hope, faith, fear, and struggle that the strange plague began. The first steps. Frau Trophäa. One warm morning in mid-July, a woman named Frau Trophäa stepped into the street outside her home. Without music, without warning, she began to dance. At first, neighbors smiled, thinking perhaps she was celebrating. But her movements weren't joyful. They were strange, repetitive, intense, almost mechanical. She didn't stop after a few minutes. She didn't stop after an hour. By nightfall, she was still moving. People whispered, was she mad? Possessed? Cursed? Onlookers tried to help her rest, but she brushed them off and kept moving, as if some invisible force was compelling her feet. By the next day, blisters formed on her feet, yet she still danced. By the third day, she collapsed from exhaustion, but soon rose and began again. The plague spreads. Within a week, others began to join her not to celebrate, but because they too could not stop moving. Men, women, and even teenagers were affected. They swayed, spun, and stepped to no music at all. Some groaned in pain, but their legs kept moving. By the end of July, there were more than 50 dancers in the streets. By August, over 400 people were caught in the strange compulsion. An imagined entry from a local's diary might have read, "The streets are filled with dancers, not the merriment of festivals, but the grim faces of those who cannot stop. Some cry, some pray as they move, others collapse, only to rise again as if lifted by some unseen hand." The authorities make a fateful decision. The city council was desperate. They called in physicians who ruled out supernatural causes. Instead, they suggested the problem was hot blood, an excess of heat in the body that could only be cured by more dancing. And so, in a decision that seems shocking today, they cleared spaces for the dancers, hired musicians to give them a rhythm, and even opened guild halls so the dancing could continue. But instead of curing them, the music seemed to fuel the frenzy. The number of dancers grew, the toll on body and mind. Weeks passed. The dancers' feet were torn and bloody, legs swelled with muscle strain. Some suffered seizures. Others collapsed from dehydration and exhaustion. Witnesses claimed people died mid-step, their hearts giving out after days of relentless movement. Families wept as loved ones danced themselves into graves. Priests began to suspect divine punishment. Citizens whispered about curses and demons. Fear spread almost as fast as the dancing itself. Saint Vitus and the curse of the dance. Many believe the plague was the work of Saint Vitus, a Christian martyr from the 4th century. In medieval Europe, Saint Vitus was both revered and feared. People prayed to him for healing, but also feared his wrath. Legends claimed he could curse people to dance uncontrollably. In fact, outbreaks of so-called Saint Vitus's dance had been reported before, though never on such a scale. The council arranged for surviving dancers to be taken to a shrine of Saint Vitus in a nearby village. There, priests placed red shoes on their feet, sprinkled them with holy water, and offered prayers for deliverance. Some stopped dancing afterward. Others did not. This wasn't the first time. The 1518 outbreak was the largest and most famous, but it was not the only one. Historical records mention similar dancing manias in Germany, Switzerland, and the Netherlands as far back as the 1300s. One of the earliest took place in 1374, in Aachen, Germany, where thousands reportedly danced in the streets, screaming that visions of angels and demons tormented them. These earlier plagues suggest that whatever happened in Strasbourg was part of a strange and recurring phenomenon. Modern theories. Searching for answers. 1. Mass psychogenic illness, mass hysteria. Many historians believe the dancing plague was a case of mass psychogenic illness, a psychological condition spreading through a community under extreme stress. In 1518, Strasbourg's people faced famine, disease, and poverty. Combined with deep religious fear, these pressures could have triggered a shared psychological reaction. 2. Ergot poisoning. Another theory blames ergot, a fungus that grows on damp rye. Ergot contains chemicals similar to LSD and can cause hallucinations, convulsions, and spasms. If contaminated bread was widely eaten, it might explain the dancing and strange behavior. 3. Religious ecstasy. Some believe it began as a religious ritual or act of penance gone wrong. Once a few people started dancing, others in a state of heightened emotion joined in unconsciously. 4. Neurological disease. Rare neurological disorders, such as Sydenham's chorea, can cause involuntary movement. In a malnourished population, such conditions might have spread more easily. 5. Social contagion. When people see others exhibiting unusual behavior, they may unconsciously mimic it, especially in a tense, fearful environment. The end of the plague. By early September 1518, the dancing began to fade. Survivors were carried away to rest, while others made pilgrimages to the Saint Vitus shrine. Gradually, the streets grew quiet again, but the psychological scar remained. People spoke of that summer for generations, legacy of the dancing plague. Today, the dancing plague remains one of history's most fascinating mysteries. It appears in books, documentaries, and even songs. Artists have painted surreal visions of exhausted dancers under a blazing sun. For scientists, it is a reminder of the strange and powerful connection between the human mind and body. For historians, it is a warning of how fear, faith, and hardship can create events that defy logic. And for the rest of us, it's proof that sometimes truth really is stranger than fiction. Thank you for joining me on The Truth Travels. If you enjoyed this journey into one of history's most bizarre events, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with friends who love strange and fascinating history. And I'd love to know, what's your theory about the dancing plague of 1518? Was it poison, mass hysteria, a religious curse, or something we still can't explain? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, keep exploring the truth.